Somos americanos y los culturales extranjeros más cerca son Canadá y la frontera sureste. Así los americanos creen todos que deben hablar inglés. Al contrario, en Europa, todos los países hablan idiomas diferentes y no realmente divisiones culturales. Por eso la mayoría de los europeos son multilingües, incluyendo inglés. As Americans, our closest foreign cultures are Canada and the southwestern borders. This being so, Americans, for the most part, expect everyone to speak English. On the contrary, in Europe, all bordering countries speak a different language, and there really is no cultural division. When I traveled to Spain, France, and Italy with the school 2 springs ago, I was only able to understand a few phrases in the other countries. Thank goodness for our tour guide Anna, who was from Greece and was fluent in Spanish, French, and Italian. If it weren't for her, I probably would have spoke my way into a convent, or I would have asked to sit in a chair while dining in France, while la chair in France actually means sensual temptations. That would have been a very awkward situation. Today, I would like to persuade you to see why it is important for students and teachers alike to be serious and diligently study when it comes to learning foreign languages. Being multilingual is necessary because of economic benefits, social courtesies, and a higher education. In a survey on college students, shown in the article, The Economic Utility of Foreign Study, results showed that the most important factors to why a student chose a foreign language were employment opportunities, the desire to travel, and the affinity for the culture. In college, it will actually benefit you as a student when looking for a job if you speak a foreign language or multiple. The easiest ones to learn and the most frequently preferred in a job setting are Spanish and French. In a survey at the University of South Carolina, the majority of jobs on campus prefer students to know a foreign language. And also, knowing Chinese and Arabic could bring opportunity because they use different alphabets and their communication systems are largely popular in international affairs. Knowing another language expands ability to communicate with employees that improves business opportunities. You are able to get to know the employer or the employee better by understanding them more fully. In general, cultural relationships are sustained by people willing to understand each other in depth. In a TED Talk, Keith Chen states that if you say something in English, in order to speak it in Chinese, you have to think and say a lot more than the simple word spoken in English. He uses an example, the word uncle, and says that when you want to speak the word uncle in Chinese, you have to speak the whole idea of uncle, on your mother's side or your father's side, etc., because there is no simple word for it. And in doing this, you're being more clear, more precise, more connected with whom you're speaking to. You are better able to communicate expectations and desired results, and you are able to appreciate nuances of the language, to understand tone, mood, and emotional or psychological perspectives in customers, employees, and business interactions. Students should know a foreign language, not only for the benefits economically in college and in their future, but they should also know a foreign language so they can be socially prepared in any situation. David Sigsbee says in his journal article about Americans and foreign language, consider the following minimum goals for how to learn a language in language study. His first point is to learn how to learn a language. This is especially applicable to the first foreign language learned. And studies have shown that the best way to learn a language is to be immersed in it since birth. The next point is to expand one's sense of what it means to be human. You can do this by seeing the world through the window of another language. Another point is to learn enough to be a polite enough to be polite in social situations. Also, to function as an independent tourist when in other countries. And lastly, to become proficient. These factors are important when it comes to speaking a foreign language because they show that even though a foreign language may seem unimportant, it is still very necessary in your life because it's hard to become sufficient and independent in social situations where you are clueless because you have no idea, because you have no experience culturally. In Christian scripture, Paul, in his letter to the Romans, discusses how essential diversity is among us. In verse 14, he says, "How strange a body would be if it only had one part. Yes, there are many parts, but only one body. The eye can never say to the hand, 'I don't need you.' The head can't say to the feet, 'I don't need you.' In fact, some parts of the body that seem the weakest and least important are actually the most necessary." How strange would it be if we were all different? If we weren't all different and we weren't all part of one body? The fact is that we are all part of one body, of many cultures, and understanding one another can lead us to a more compassionate world, a world that is rich in respect and understanding of mutual importance. It takes time and concentration to learn another language effectively. However, all this learning eventually contributes to your higher education. David Sigsbee says later in his article, "These goals, ranging from humanistic purposes to advanced practical application, can all be appropriate in given context, and one or more might be found in any foreign language program. However, to serve the why Americans don't study foreign language purposes of internationalizing higher education, we must look to achieving fluency, and this is characterized by ease, naturalness, and knowledge and skill. And then there's also proficiency, which is characterized by a predetermined level of knowledge and skill. This is in communication skills. However, in order to be able to communicate in any language effectively, you have to speak truthfully and always allow God to be at the root of anything you learn or communicate." In Flannery O'Connor's short story, Greenleaf, one of her characters ignorantly speaks towards some bilingual children, telling them that she could teach them how to speak English like proper Southern children. However, she has a distorted view of proper language and is also very undereducated. The real problem isn't the French children who speak the languages, it's her and her American ignorance. The passage says, "Where's your mama?" she asked. There was no answer for some time. Then one of the children said something in French. Miss May did not speak French. "Where's your daddy?" she asked. After a while, one of the boys said, "He ain't here neither." "Ah," Miss May said, as if something had been proven. "Where's the colored man?" She waited and decided no one was going to answer. "The cat has 6 little tongues," she said. "How would you like to come home with me and let me teach you how to talk?" This passage illustrates how Americans living a simple life with no education act ignorantly towards other cultures. It is important to learn foreign languages because it helps bring a balance to your economic life by showing you your cultural value in different job positions. Foreign language shows your affiliation, your social affiliation. You will be able to communicate in any social situation you seek out, and you will be desirable in a situation where communication isn't clear. This is a factor in your higher education. The fact that you know these languages means that you are already culturally educated, and the concentration it takes to learn another language shows how dedicated and diligent you are when it comes to education. Here's what you can do to further your foreign language study. Study language in college as a minor. You can also study abroad to immerse yourself in a different language. Or befriend a student from another country who's studying abroad, or just a student that comes to this country to learn about our culture. See how they represent theirs, and learn how they speak and learn where they come from.